All right, so you know how much we all love AI and research? Well, today we're going to dive into a company called Elicit. And trust me, this is not your typical research tool. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's really interesting because they're taking on this huge problem, something researchers have been struggling with forever, information overload.
It really is. Like, you're drowning in information.
Yeah.
Trying to find what you need feels impossible sometimes.
Especially with all these research papers so dense and full of jargon. And Elicit is designed to help you cut through all that and find what matters.
So who's behind this AI research assistant?
Well, the founders are two really brilliant people. Andreas Stuhlmuller, who has this background in AI and machine learning, and Jungwon Byun, who comes from the world of product development and business strategy.
Wow, that's a powerful combo. AI brains meeting real-world problems. So let's get to the heart of it. What does Elicit actually do?
Okay, so imagine you're a researcher, right? And you're looking at the effects of some new drug on, say, cardiovascular health. You could spend hours, days even, just searching for papers, hoping you're using the right keywords. It's a nightmare. Well, Elicit changes that whole game with something called semantic search.
Semantic search. Sounds fancy. What's that all about?
Okay, think about it this way. Regular search engine, they just look for keyword matches, right? But Elicit, it's smarter than that. It gets the meaning, the context of what you're searching for. Like you're asking a colleague, you can just use natural language.
So instead of searching for like drug name and cardiovascular health separately, I could ask, what's the long-term impact of this drug on, heart function?
Mm,
And it would actually understand.
exactly. It gets what you're looking for, your intent. And because of that, it can find studies that are super relevant, even if they don't have those exact keywords in the title or abstract.
Okay, that's a game changer. But I'm guessing it doesn't just find the papers, right? Doesn't help much if I still got to read through pages and pages of dense research.
Oh, you're absolutely right. Elicit takes it a step further, helps you understand the key takeaways. It uses AI to summarize the research, highlights the main findings, methodology, conclusions, all that.
It's like having a super smart research assistant pre-reading everything and flagging the important bits. Sounds almost too good to be true.
And it gets even better. Let's say you're doing a meta-analysis, combining data from lots of studies. Elicit can actually pull out specific data points from those papers, like sample sizes, stats results, or even the experimental conditions.
Hold on. That's incredibly useful, but also kind of mind-blowing. Can you give me a real-world example? Like, how would that work?
Sure, let's stick with our cardiovascular example. Imagine you're trying to figure out how effective different cholesterol-lowering drugs are. The old way, you'd have to manually go through each study, right? Pull out data on cholesterol levels, blood pressure, maybe patient demographics. It's a ton of work. Elicit automates all that, saves researchers so much time.
So instead of spending weeks, months, just getting the data, they can use Elicit to do the grunt work and get to the analysis way faster. Huge time saver.
Exactly. Which means researchers can focus on what they're best at, interpreting data, drawing conclusions, moving our understanding forward.
This is starting to sound like every researcher's dream tool. But how does it benefit someone who's not doing a full-blown meta-analysis?
Well, Elicit has something called Elicit reports. Think of them as like automated mini systematic reviews. They give you an overview of the research on a topic, pulls findings from lots of studies.
So if I'm a doctor and I want to stay up to date on a treatment, I could use an Elicit report to get a quick summary without reading tons of individual studies.
Exactly. It's like having a team of experts curating the most relevant information, but in a fraction of the time. And that can be so helpful, for people who need to stay on top of things. Busy professionals who just don't have time to read every study.
Like a personalized research digest delivered straight to you. So we talked about how it helps researchers and even doctors. But what about the research community as a whole? Who are they targeting with this tech?
Well, anyone who uses research to make decisions, really. Academics, obviously, but also data scientists, people in pharma, healthcare, even policymakers who need the latest evidence.
So they're making research more accessible, breaking down those walls between academia and the real world.
Exactly. And that can really speed up discoveries across all kinds of fields.
It's like research findings are no longer stuck in some dusty library. They're actually getting to the people who can use them.
Right. And it raises a really interesting point about AI and research. Some people worry that AI will replace researchers. But Elicit shows how it can actually make them even better.
It's like giving them superpowers. Instead of getting bogged down in busy work, they can focus on the big picture.
Yeah, think about it. Systematic reviews are supposed to be the gold standard, right? but they can take years to do. What if Elicit could speed that up? New treatments could reach patients much faster.
That's a huge deal for healthcare outcomes. And it's not just healthcare, right? Any field that depends on research could benefit. Climate change, education, tech development.
Absolutely. And as AI gets even smarter, we'll see even more tools like this, changing how research is done.
It's pretty exciting to think about all the possibilities.
Mm.
But let's bring it back down to earth for a minute. If someone's listening and they want to learn more about Elicit, where should they go?
Well, their website is a great place to start. They have a ton of info on their features, case studies, blog posts that go deeper into specific topics.
Definitely checking that out later. So, we've covered a lot, but anything else about Elicit that really stands out to you?
One thing I really like is their commitment to transparency. They're very open about how the AI works, the data they use, even the limitations of the tech.
That's so important with AI, especially when things can feel like a black box. It builds trust, lets researchers use the tool with confidence.
Yeah, and it shows their goal, to empower researchers and make knowledge available to everyone.
I have to say, I'm really impressed with Elicit. They're really pushing the limits of what's possible with AI in research. But before we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with something to think about. So, as these AI tools like Elicit get even more advanced, do you think there's a risk of researchers, becoming too reliant on them? Could we see a decline in critical thinking skills, the things that make good research?
That's a really good question, and it's definitely something to be aware of. As we use more AI in research, we have to be careful. But I see Elicit as more of a partner, not a replacement for human thinking. It's like, imagine a calculator for mathematicians. It doesn't mean they don't need to understand math anymore. It just helps them do calculations faster so they can focus on harder problems.
That's a great analogy. So, instead of replacing researchers, Elicit helps them be even better.
Exactly. It takes care of the boring, time-consuming stuff and frees researchers up to do what they're good at, thinking critically, designing new studies, finding the real meaning in the data.
It's almost like giving them back all that time they used to spend on data entry and searching.
Exactly. And that time can be used for more important things, collaborating with others, mentoring, just having space to think deeply about their work.
Yeah, it's not just about being faster. It's about creating a better environment for research. So, looking ahead, what are you most excited about for AI in research?
One thing that has huge potential is personalized recommendations. Like, imagine an AI that knows your research interests, but can also predict what you might be interested in based on new trends and discoveries.
Wow, that would be amazing.
Mhm.
It's like having a personal research librarian who always knows what you need.
Right, and beyond that, I think AI will play a bigger role in developing hypotheses, even in designing experiments. It could help us find gaps in our knowledge, suggest new research directions, maybe even predict how experiments will turn out.
So AI becomes like a research partner, helping us ask the right questions and do better studies.
Exactly. It's all about using AI to help us reach our full potential, to speed up discoveries. The tools are changing so fast, and the possibilities are really exciting.
Well, I'm feeling really optimistic about the future of research. It feels like we're entering a new era where human creativity and AI work together to achieve things we never thought possible.
I completely agree. It's a great time to be involved in research. I can't wait to see what the future brings.
And to everyone listening, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Elicit and AI research. We hope you found it interesting. If you want to learn more, check out Elicit's website. And be sure to tune in tomorrow evening for another deep dive into a new topic. Until then, keep exploring, keep learning, and stay curious.